Hey people, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to the first video of 2022. And what better way to introduce the brand new year with showing off well, not all but the most recent purchases of vinyl for 2021. I've just got about 15, I think, or so, if I counted correctly. So nothing too major, but still, it's fun to just keep everybody up to date with what's going into the shelves. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to go in, they just happen to be in alphabetical order because that's what I'm like. So starting off with the first recent, definitely this is the one of the most recentest. We got the At the Gates new album. That sun glare though is insane. At the Gates, what's it called? The Nightmare of the Being. Very very awesome album. Would easily be, I think, one of it sits in the top 10 of 21. This album. I only a lot of people were releasing their top 21, top albums of 2021, and everyone kept talking about this album. So I was like, well, I have to listen to it, and they were right. It's pretty damn amazing. I jammed it like all through the month of December, and I saw it in the shop, but I was just like, I grabbed it on a whim, and I was like, yes, please, that's awesome. So yeah, The Nightmare of Being by At the Gates, very very cool album. I remember Garden of Cyrus. I liked that song. That song was very, very cool. It was weirdly calm and nice and or mystical, if that's a good enough word for it. Yeah. This next one, I had actually been looking for it for months. I was waiting for like a re-release of it since they were re-releasing everything, and I guess they did re-release it, but I couldn't get my hands on it until I finally saw it in the shop, and that's what's spinning right now in the lounge. If you can hear it, Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. Yes, I have been looking for this album for months, and when I saw that it was available at a shop near me rather than trying to get it from some imported place overseas, I I nearly died. I had to get it immediately, and I was like, yes, please. It was in the local shop on CD, and I was like, no, I'll hesitate and I'll wait. I'll wait for it to come out of vinyl, and thankfully it did. But yeah, it's spinning around right now. It's one of the best albums ever recorded. I think it's up there with Iron Maiden's debut, of course, 1980. It's one of the greatest years for metal. This is actually a double LP. It's got bonus tracks, like nothing new, nothing different, just live and rough cuts and things like that. So that's pretty awesome. Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. So stoked to own that. This one again is a bit different. Just you have to have this one if you're gonna have a black metal album. If you've got De Mysterious, then you have to also get Philosopheme from Burzum. Is that how you say it? Sure, Burzum. Yeah, Philosopheme. One of the more well-known Burzum albums, I think, only because of Dunkelheit. I think that's how you say it, as well as Jesus Todd. I'm saying them in English, of course. Yeah, this album is the roughest of rough. If you thought Mayhem was rough and you haven't heard Burzum, you're in for a shock because this is beyond raw. It's so fuzzy. It's just full of like fuzz pedals upon fuzz pedals. It's insane, but still very very cool to actually physically own a Burzum album from this country. Anyway, it's just like okay, very cool. This one I got a while ago, and again, it was on the shop posted it online, and I was like, yes, please, let's have that. And that's the debut album from death metal legends Cannibal Corpse. We got Eaten Back to Life. I saw this one come out, and I was like, yes, please. I've got Tomb of the Mutilated and a couple of others. And I just had to have, if you know me, and you know how obsessed I can get with bands and their debuts. So this one I'm stoked to own, Eaten Back to Life. This one's a splatter. I think it's a blood splatter, I think. It's like pinky, kind of, it's like it's not transparent, because that's not the right word. Translucent is the word that it should be to describe. But yeah, it's like, yeah, so that's awesome. Really cool to own that. What's on this one? We've got Shredded Edibles. Shredded Humans. Lyrics to that are, here we go. Lyrics to that are hilarious, but overall, the lyrics to this album are just funny, because it's just, you can't take it seriously. It's just so good. But yeah, put them to death, scattered remains, rotten head, a skull full of maggots buried in the backyard. It's just everything that we're gonna see with this band. It's like the calmest version of everything that turned up. So And then Butchered at Birth came next, which just took everything to extreme. Next up, we have Leprosy from Death. Yeah, I own this on CD, but didn't own it on vinyl until quite recently. And now I have like the first 4 albums, I think. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so that's cool that the vinyl collection's now been collected. This album, though, is boss. It's probably number 2 in my death listing. Leprosy, Born Dead, Forgotten Past, Left to Die. Left to Die. Oh, that's such a good song. And so is Open Casket and Pull the Plug. Those ones are just boss. They're just like, yes, please. Absolutely insane. Fantastic album. And the back as well. It's like, here's the album art. I've drawn it. Go make that into a digital picture. Very cool. If you've seen my review, you'll know, and my ranking, you'll know that I own this album. But hey, it wasn't in the last update video. So, Dream Theater, A View from the Top of the World. Again, I didn't have to travel far for this album, which is amazingly. New Zealand's obviously getting better with importing records, so that's great. View from the Top of the World, recent release. When did this come out? When did this come out? Was it September? Has it been 3 months already? Wow. Yeah, insanely heavy, double, like physical heavy, double album. 7 songs, 4 sides. What more do you want? This is actually a really, really great album in terms of where Dream Theater have been lately. You know, Distance Over Time was a bit weird. Astonishing was great, but I didn't like it. No, Astonishing was great and I loved it, but yeah, a lot of people didn't. So this takes you back to like old school Dream Theater to a point. It's when you hear the words Dream Theater, these are the songs you think of. Very, very cool. The Alien, Answering the Call. Sleeping Giants, definitely my favorite, as well as Awakening the Master. Very, very cool. What's next? We've got Evanescence's debut album, Fallen. Now, this album is awesome. I did a video on what makes this album great, so yeah, we all know what makes this album great. But this album is, I believe this one is the only clear one. Yeah, look at that. It's like, you know, it's like see-through. It's like glass. But that's awesome as well. I love this album so much. Favorite song on here would definitely have to be Imaginary. It's really, really cool. This is such a cool album to own, and this actually wasn't that expensive. It was only like $40, so that's awesome. Yeah, Evanescence, Fallen, very, very cool. Now, I don't normally like this album if you listen to me talk about it, but it was next in the collection of the artists to buy, and it just happened to be there, so I nabbed it, and that was Iron Maiden's Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. Yeah, if you've heard me talk about this album, it's not my favorite. I don't rate this, you know. I ranked All of Maiden, it's like a number 12 or something like that for me. But it's a good enough album to own, and obviously it's a vinyl, so you got to own it if you want all of them, eh? So yeah, literally the only ones on here worth listening to for me: Seventh Son, Only Good Die Young, the Clairvoyance intro, I think, if that's the right one. I can never remember which is which, and Infinite Dreams. Other songs like Madness and Evil That Men Do can just don't have time for them. Next up, we've got Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. Now this album is actually quite different in terms of albums that I'm used to. I don't normally listen to this, but we've been playing this quite a bit, and it's actually really, really cool. It flows like a radio station, and I think that's very, very clever. Like there'll be sounds in between songs where he's tuning radio stations, and yeah, it's just really cool. No One Knows is on this album, and there's just honestly some really, really other great songs on here that I'd never heard of. So yeah, it's not too long of an album, but the sides are big, so yeah, it's double. So what do you expect? Awesome album. Going back in time, back to the 70s, I think 1976, I think this one is, but obviously this is a re-release, so it's not an original, and that is the prog metal classic Rush's 2112. This album is insane. Well, I mean, it's incredible. Let's be honest. If you like prog metal, then you've heard at least one Rush song, and it's probably come off this album. If it's not the song 2112, which I completely understand if it isn't, because that song is side 1, and that's 22 minutes long, I think, and it's just amazing. 2112 broken up into seven parts, and it's just awesome. But on the side B, you get all the singles. A Passage to Bangkok, which is a really, really cool song. Twilight Zone is eerie. And I think Something for Nothing as well. That's really awesome too. Yeah, I saw this in the shop and I was like, yes, please. I have to have this piece of OG prog history. So really, really cool. I love owning that. That's awesome. Back to the hardcore These are the last. These are the last two, and they're the same artist, but oh well. Back to the heavy metal thrash days. We got Slayer's debut album, Show No Mercy. I have been thrashing this album since I got it. I've literally played it like 6 times, and I've only owned it for like a week, maybe. I'm not sure. But honestly, this album is so cool. Maybe because it has a lot of like new wave of British heavy metal influences. Like there's a lot of like high pitched squeals that you don't normally get in Slayer anymore, and some of the riffs and some of the solos, they're just so cool. Which one is it? I love the Final Command. That song's really cool. It's got a cool ending. Side A is just awesome. The Antichrist, Evo's No Boundaries, Die by the Sword, Fight Till the Death. They're honestly great songs. I'm so happy to own that. And yeah, Show No Mercy, Slayer, real cool. And then the last one is another Slayer album, and I'm pretty sure it's the one that comes straight after. Hell Awaits. Yes, I got this one before Show No Mercy, and I'm glad I did, because this one is amazing as well. The intro to this album, how it's Join Us put backwards, so subliminal, so awesome, so good, really clever. Hell Awaits, Kill Again, At Dawn They Sleep, Praise of Death, Necrophilia, Crypts of Eternity, Hardening of the Arteries. Literally, I just listed the entire album. They're all so good, and it's just they're quick albums too. So if you want to listen to an album that don't have a lot of time, chuck on a Slayer album. You know, sweet and simple, half an hour, 40, 35 minutes at the most. But yeah, Hell Awaits for us all. Everyone knows that. Cool as team. So that's my latest collection of vinyls. I'll do these like every couple months because of how slowly I buy albums from time to time. But yeah, I am excited for the new year. Get back into just a simple video to get back into the swing of recording. It's fun, and until there's another video that comes out, I will see you all there, I suppose. But yeah, until then, have a great year, and I'll see you all soon.